Leslie H. Zoller, Z-O-E-L-L-E-R.
Detective Zoller, you've previously identified yourself as the investigating officer for the Beverly Hills Police Department in this case. Is that correct?
That's correct.
A number of photographs of various rooms and parts of the residence at 722 Elm Drive have been introduced in this court. Are you familiar with those photographs?
Yes, I am.
And is it usual procedure in a homicide investigation for photographs to be taken of the scene?
Yes.
And as the investigating officer on, I guess, the early morning hours of August 21st, 1989, were you aware of the fact that a large number of photographs were taken of the interior of the house?
Yes, I am.
If I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm holding a previously marked exhibit 63. It's small. Do you recognize that photograph to be a photograph taken inside the master bedroom at 722 Elm Drive?
Yes.
And does that particular photograph show the location of the IBM PC computer that was in that room?
Yes, it does.
And does that photograph show that the computer and its stand is to the right of the entry doors to the bedroom?
Yes.
And it is up against a wall, is it not?
That's correct.
I have that. Now, I've placed a series, may I stay, Your Honor, just to go through these photographs?
Yes.
I've placed a series of photographs in front of you that have been marked with new numbers 257 through 265. Let me ask you about them one at a time. Showing you 257. Do you recognize what room of the residence that photograph was taken in?
Yes, I do.
And what room was it?
This is Eric's room, and it was a room upstairs on the south side of the residence toward the front. There was a guest bedroom further west than this at the front of the house.
Okay. So it's not right on the front. Its windows don't open to the front of the house.
That's correct.
Do you know what its windows open to?
To the south side of the house.
And do you know if those windows overlook the pool area, the tennis court area, and provide a view of the guest house?
It does not, no.
Does not provide a view of those things?
No.
Now, the items and objects that are in this particular photograph, to the best of your understanding, were they in that condition when your photographer arrived to photograph them?
Yes.
Is it proper police procedure to not move items around at a crime scene?
Yes, it is.
And was the entire house, under your guidance, treated as a crime scene?
Yes.
So that nothing should have been moved in any room?
That's correct.
And would the same be true of putting things in rooms that were not there when the police arrived?
That is also correct.
No one should be doing that?
No.
And do you have any reason whatsoever to believe that anyone working on this investigation on the 21st of August, 1989, put anything in any of these rooms that was not already there?
To my knowledge, nobody had done that.
Thank you. Showing you the next photograph, which I've previously marked 258. Is that another view of Eric's bedroom?
Yes, it is.
In your opinion, does it appear messy?
Yes.
When you observed it the morning of August 21st, were you struck with its messiness?
Yes.
Were there various writings like papers, magazines, books strewn about the room?
Yes, there were.
Did you note any particular writing in any police report or inventory or property report?
No.
Did you collect any items from that room?
Not to my knowledge, no.
And did you inventory the contents of each and every one of these rooms?
No.
showing you the next photograph, which has been marked 259. What room of the house does that appear to be?
This is another photo of the master bedroom.
And do you see there appears to be a piece of equipment in the center of the photograph that has a jacket over it? Do you know what that equipment was?
I believe it was a life cycle.
An exercise bike?
Yes.
And there is a doorway beyond that piece of equipment. Do you know where it went?
That went to the dressing rooms.
Were there two separate dressing rooms and bathrooms off this master bedroom?
Yes.
And was access to both of them through this doorway, or was there another doorway?
I believe it was just through this doorway.
And was one of the dressing room, bathroom areas to the left of that doorway and the other to the right?
Yes.
Now, when you say dressing room, did that include closets?
Yes.
Let me take this out of here and I'll put it up. You recall testifying earlier that there were two rifles in a closet off the master bedroom.
That's correct.
And could you determine in looking at the clothing in each of those dressing rooms which was Mr. Menendez's and which was Mrs. Menendez's?
I believe so, yes.
Was there female clothing, for example,
Yes.
in one
Yes.
and male clothing in the other?
Yes.
Do you recall in which closet the rifles were?
I believe they were in Mr. Menendez's closet.
Now, along those lines, did you see either in the bedroom or in Mr. Menendez's closet a wooden box or a wooden tray-like thing, the sort where men put their wallets and keys at the end of the night, men who don't carry purses?
I don't recall.
You have testified that the rifles were not loaded.
That's correct.
Did you ever examine the premises or search for ammunition for that rifle?
Yes.
And you didn't find any?
That's correct.
I'm sorry, I'll show this to you first. This is 260. Is that the same bedroom?
Yes.
And do you notice whether or not in that photograph there is a window seat?
Yes.
And on the sides of the window seat, recessed, can you tell if there's anything there?
It appears to be a bookcase with what appears to be books.
Do they appear to be books, or do they also appear to be magazines?
It's hard to tell. It could possibly be magazines.
I take it you did not inventory those magazines,
That's correct.
nor did you remove any from the house.
That's correct.
Now, showing you the next photograph, which is 261, does that appear to be a second window seat in the same bedroom?
Yes.
And does there appear to be bookcases recessed on the sides of that window seat?
Yes, there are.
I'm going to put these photographs up sort of overlapping. Is this sort of the way that part of the room looked? The two window seats and bookcases on either side of the fireplace.
Yes.
Now, I would like to call your attention, Detective Zoller, perhaps I'll tilt this a tiny bit, to photograph, I believe this is 250. Not being contradicted. You have previously testified that this item here was a glass of some sort that was on the coffee table in the den.
That's correct.
And it appears to have some white substance around the sides and some darker spots. Correct?
That's correct.
Was there any actual food inside the glass?
No.
It was basically just traces of food.
That's correct.
And did you, in examining that glass, determine, or at least form an opinion, as to what those traces were?
Yes.
And were those traces of blueberries?
Yes.
And was the white stuff traces of whipped cream?
Yes.
And was there only one such glass on the coffee table when you observed it?
Containing that material, yes.
Okay. And it didn't have, it was intact, it wasn't broken.
That's correct.
It wasn't picked off off the floor and put there.
That's correct.
At least you hope and pray it wasn't.
Not by any of my people, anyway.
Okay. And it doesn't appear to have any evidentiary value, does it? I mean, it wasn't seized, it wasn't tested in any way.
That's correct.
Doesn't appear to have blood on it.
No.
Now I want to show you photograph 262. Do you recognize what room of the house that's in?
It's a photo of the kitchen.
Now, did you, in your inspection of this crime scene, come upon a second glass that also appeared to have the traces of blueberries and whipped cream in it?
Yes.
And where was that glass?
Sitting on the counter in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
And it's depicted in photo 262.
Could you just, this isn't a grease pencil, but could you just circle that second glass with similar traces?
I've done that.
Thank you. And showing you 263, is that also a photograph of the kitchen?
It is.
Is it taken from the opposite end of the island?
It is.
And do you see the same glass in that photograph?
Yes, I do.
And would you circle it again?
I've done that.
And was this glass also entirely intact?
Yes, it was.
And did this glass also not have any blood or anything else of evidentiary significance on it?
It did not.
Now, have you ever reviewed these photographs, 250 and the two that I've shown you, with Mrs. Bozanic?
I'm sure I have, yes.
Did you ever mislead Mrs. Bozanic into believing that there was actually berries and cream, two such containers in the den at the time the police arrived at the location? Would you look at the last photograph that's in front of you?
There are two photographs here.
What's the next number?
264.
And what does 264 show?
It's an exterior shot, a close-up of the French doors outside the den, depicting a broken glass pane.
And does that appear to be a relatively large hole?
Yes.
Let me put this out. And the last photograph?
Last photograph is again from the outside of that den, and it is a photo depicting a second hole in a French door window.
That's a different hole, correct?
That's correct.
Getting back for a moment to your inspection of the scene, and particularly the area of the master bedroom and the closets, did you see any currency of any type, whether domestic or foreign, anywhere in that area?
Yes.
And what did you see?
I recall seeing American bills.
Do you recall seeing any foreign currency, bills, coins, anything like that?
I don't recall.
Did you locate Mrs. Menendez's purse anywhere in the house?
It was in that dressing room.
In which one?
In the one as soon as you went into that room, so the first dressing room.
Do you recall what color it was, the dressing room?
No, I don't.
And did you find Mr. Menendez's wallet?
I believe I did see it.
Where?
I don't recall.
Wasn't it inside his dressing room on a wooden tray?
It could have been. I just don't recall.
And didn't that same wooden tray have numerous English coins and bills on it?
I don't recall.
And didn't that same tray also have about 20 rounds of .22 caliber ammunition?
I don't recall seeing that, no.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.